with College SportsCast, and we are presented by the Fanboys. See, it's not going, is it?
You ready? Of course not. Frozen bread. And go. You ready?
All right, guys, I think I'm back.
Yeah, you are. It took you a
Yeah.
little longer.
Well, so it took forever for it to actually download on my end and to run. I didn't even think it was going to run, to be quite honest with you. It took 30 seconds for at least for it to even run on my end.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so it's Brad with College Sportscast, and we were scheduled to have a guest today, Lee Wardlaw, of Rivals, South Carolina recruiting editor, but it looks like about 45 minutes before the show, he sent me a message and said that he was having to hop in the car and drive down to Florida from South Carolina. And I haven't heard anything back from him, so I don't really know what all is going on. But it looks like we're going to have to reschedule the show for or with Lee Wardlaw. So hopefully we'll be able to bring that show to you before too long. And I'm not exactly sure what happened today or whatever. But if you are joining us because you were expecting to see and hear some North Carolina and South Carolina recruiting, I just want to let you know that's kind of what happened. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. He just said he might have to reschedule, that he had to hop in the car and drive down to Florida. I do know that he's from Florida. So, originally he's from Florida. I do know that. So, maybe it had something to do with family or, I have no idea. That's just a guess. But I do know that he's from Florida. That's not a guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a guess. I do know that.
All right. Well, that's good.
So it's John Roberts and I that's going to be on the show with you. I do have a little bit of stuff here that I've got with Lee on the recruiting side stuff, but and we might get to some of that, but we will kind of wing it here because we wasn't expecting to not have him as a guest. So,
right.
I guess I'll start out with, if we talk about recruiting and stuff, John, since you were last on the show, North Carolina announced, I think it was like Wednesday or something of last week, that they are now, hang on, that's not the one I wanted to pull up, that they are now passing legislation for NIL for high school students. They are, as far as I know, the very first state to pass law for high school students. So if you are of high school age, which means goes all the way down to like 14 years old, probably 13 or 14, um, you are in this cycle world of NIL and money being thrown at you and everything. And I kind of wanted to get your thought on that for high school kids.
What do you know any particulars on the law itself, like age? I mean, it's for high schoolers, but do they do a you got to be 17, 18, 16?
I didn't see that. No,
anybody that's enrolled.
High school age is what I seen. Anybody that's in high school is what now, you know.
Well, here's the other thing. There are a lot of middle schoolers that play JV and varsity sports. Are they included in this? They're playing on the high school team. I'm wondering if playing on the high school team means
if you're an 8th grader and you're playing in the high school team, yeah.
Right. And some places high school starts in 8th grade. Some places high school starts in 10th grade. Some places high school starts in 9th. Kind of wondering what constitutes as high school. Where do you start? And is it an age, or is it being enrolled in high school? You know, because there's a lot of different factors on that. I mean, look, I'm all for if you can make money, you make money. I know that there are labor laws, and I don't know how you could get it. I mean, you can get around a lot of it because you have child star actors and whatnot. But I mean, you're talking about kids who are going to have to hire attorneys, probably, if you're going to go out.
All right, it looks like I lost John, and he's coming back.
Where did you lose me? Where was I?
I didn't know if I was gone or if he was gone, but it looks like I lost John for a second.
Where did you lose me?
Now I've got him back, and I don't know what happened there. So
you don't know where you lost me?
Yeah, I mean, you were just talking about, depending on age-wise, as far as, they'd have to hire some, lawyers and
well,
people,
I mean, I'm just kind of thinking about like people that represent the kids themselves, because sometimes parents take advantage, or people that you hire take advantage. So, I mean, now you're really having to make some grown-up decisions as a.
Well, I mean, listen, you start giving 13-year-old, 14-year-old kids, whether that's a $5,000 NIL deal, or, I mean, I seriously doubt these kids are going to make millions.
I'm not. I mean, I don't really foresee just like the mass, dumping of money, but I mean, beyond.
But I mean, you start giving money to these young kids, and I mean, you're opening up doors, man. That just So here's the deal: you got a 13-year-old kid that's at such and such school, and they offer him $5,000. He takes the money.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then 2 months later, or 2 weeks later, the neighboring school right down the road comes along and says, "Hey, we can do better than that."
Right.
And we can give you 20 grand.
Okay, so
So then the kid takes that 20 grand.
Yeah, but if he takes the first one, you got to think that he's under some sort of contract at that point, right? Or there's some.
It's definitely not happening in college. Like, these kids took money and transferred 3 months ago, and now are leaving and taking money and transferring somewhere else.
Do we know 100% how much of the money and what the terms and of the deals are? with people that transfer out? Because do you know how much they got or what they got? Did they get it right away?
Well, no, there's
Just an
they
agreement.
don't have to tell you how much they got. I mean, that's
Well, I know, but I'm saying you're just assuming that they got all this, but they may not have. They may have transferred because
you
somebody
can't
else
tell
offered
me
more.
the people that just transferred. Some of them didn't take money and get money. You can't tell me that didn't.
And
I
you
know
can't tell me that they didn't have to pay some back. I'm just saying, I'm being devil's advocate here, and just saying that there's a possibility of some other, things that go on behind closed doors that we don't know about. So,
and you're opening up doors that is chaos. That's
Correct.
absolute chaos. I mean, it really is. And you are doing this with 13, 14, 15-year-old kids.
Correct.
Not 20-year-old adults or even 19 or 18-year-old adults. These are 13-year-old kids, possibly.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, more than likely.
Right. I mean, we are professionalizing at a younger and younger age. And I know that we've had, like I said, you can look at it like child star actors. You can look at it like
and musicians and
golf prodigies and tennis prodigies, stuff like that. Those are far and few between. Those aren't like the
gymnasts.
Norm. You're getting ready to normalize this, which is going to be very interesting to see. Is that you're getting ready to normalize this because not everything. Like, you're not going to have just a ton of money to be able to spread out, once you get so many people involved in this. So it's going to be lower and lower money. Early ones will make a lot of money or more money than anybody else. And we'll see how that works.
Maybe.
I would think that anybody early on will make more money than people later on, unless you come up with some deal that has a recurring payment that's pretty good, as opposed to here's a bunch of money at once without proving it.
Well, I mean, maybe. I just know this is just my thinking, and normally with all this stuff, I'm pretty far off. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that what I'm thinking is going to be right or anything. But I really can't imagine you've got this phenom, whether that's basketball, football, or whatever, that is a 14-year-old prodigy kid that looks like he's going to be all world in 4 or 5 years. I can't imagine that these companies would want to throw $500,000 at this 14-year-old kid right off the bat, right away at 14. Now, you give him 5 or 10,000 now, and then a couple of years from now, when he progresses, the way he is, and now he's 16. Then maybe he's worth 100,000 at 16, and then what I mean, like. But I can't imagine early on at if you are a 15-year-old 14-year-old freshman or something, that these, that they would throw a bunch of money. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will. I don't know.
I mean, you're right about that too. And then just think about the burnout on some of these kids, because they're going to be basically forced that they're going to need to do all this stuff to keep up at the age, instead of doing it for fun, and then you're doing it more of a self to get yourself to the next level. Now you're doing it, and either you're having to do it because it's now your job to do it, or you're doing it or you've stopped doing it thinking that you've gotten all this money or whatever,
and that'll happen too.
Just kind of keep going. So
that'll actually happen too. You'll have kids that'll take the money and take advantage of it, and then have some burnout, and then quit.
Right.
And that'll happen too.
It just won't get fun anymore. It's going to be kind of
Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff definitely can happen too. But anyway, it was something that happened since you were last on. Your last show with me was on Tuesday,
right.
and I want to say it happened like on Wednesday. I think last week that I seen that that they had passed it. And we talked about it on Thursday with me and Jay for just a few minutes on Thursday when we done the show. But I wanted to kind of run by it since you were on with me. All right. So while you are on, let's talk some college baseball. I know Kentucky finally won a series again this weekend, and they were ahead.
Sweep or they
were ahead a little bit ago. I don't know if they won or not. It's probably not over, but it might be.
Let's take a look at scores. I'm sure you'll get there faster.
Be over. I'm not sure. Well, I've got the app pulled up, but I was on something else.
Right. Well, I'm watching Auburn. Auburn just got 2 more runs on I believe.
Did Auburn beat LSU last night?
They did.
They were ahead 7-5 in the 8th, I think.
And they won 8. They won 8-6. Let's see. They are winning.
They are winning today.
5-2. 5-2. So there's a possibility that you guys sweep the number 3 team in the country. Auburn was looking to do the same thing and then got beat on Sunday against South Carolina last week. Now, South Carolina is missing about 2 to 3 guys on their team, but that still doesn't mean that this isn't something to really, like, I'm not trying to put it down. I know that we did it, or Auburn did it with, they were not a full on full strength. So,
right.
Let me actually get
so. Well, I mean, Kentucky had been playing great, and about 3 weeks ago, the wheels started falling off. They beat Georgia, and then they had a rain out, and had to do a double header, and lost both of them. All right, and then from that point on, then the next weekend they had a rain out on their first game, the opening game, which is a Friday, and they had a doubleheader with Texas A&M and lost both of those.
Right.
And then the wheels of kind of was just, I don't know. Like I said, they were playing great, and then all of a sudden, they had a couple of rainouts and had doubleheaders, and lost both of them. And then the next thing you know, they're in a long kind of losing streak.
Yep.
So
they're going through number 1 picks in the SEC over the last 25, 30 years. And I have seen every one of them in person while they were in college. So that's pretty fun. They were.
So it looks like Auburn is ahead of LSU today too, 11-2.
Yes, I'm watching that game. I do have that game on. They just scored 2 in the top of the bottom of the 6th off of.
So would this be a sweep?
No. Auburn lost against Paul Skeens on Friday night.
Okay.
Friday night, Paul Skeens shut Auburn out. Which what Auburn did was that they moved their Friday night starter to Saturday, so that they wouldn't be going head to head with Paul Skeens. And it gives you a better chance of winning when you have, you're most likely not going to. Doesn't matter what you do with your pitching staff. If you can't put up the offense, you're not going to win against him. So what you do is you go and put somebody else up there because you're probably losing.
Yeah,
anyway.
they
The
swapped
chances
them
are
out.
you're
They're
losing
playing-
anyway, right? So you change it up, and maybe you get that win on Saturday because LSU has had some issues with their Saturday and their Sunday starter. They have been very, very inconsistent.
Well, the Saturday starter early in the season looked okay, but the last 3 or 4 weeks they've kind of been shaky on Saturday.
Like I said, very inconsistent on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, they're like they're just not been doing great. Whereas Auburn's bullpen was very bad the last several, or from the beginning of the season through the beginning of the SEC season, like the first half of that. Well, over the last 3 weeks or so, they have figured out how to pitch. Doing that makes Auburn dangerous.
They just figured it out now. They just
figured it out. Don't know what happened. It clicked. And they've done it at the right time because they took a series from South Carolina. They took the series from or they are trying to take the series from LSU, and that's number 1 LSU and number 3 South Carolina. That this is a possibility of doing. Now, I mean, they got to finish this game off. They're up by 9 in the top of the 7th. There's 2 outs. So,
Kentucky damn near beat LSU too in a series a few weeks back.
Yeah, that was one that it was
that was the one.
Yeah.
I think before those 2 series that I was talking about, the Georgia and the Texas A&M series, and then they played Vandy and got swept.
Right,
so they went through a spell there where they just didn't play well, but they were up 1 run in the 8th inning on a Sunday, and then they lost by 1 run. They're at the end to LSU, but they were right there to do it.
Right. So, So LSU possibly could go down to Auburn this weekend. Kentucky has taken the series and could possibly sweep against South Carolina. Vanderbilt, the other top team, lost a series to Alabama, who just fired their baseball coach for being tied to a bettor, and that person placed a bet or had received some form of communication that the Friday night starter, I think it was Friday night last weekend against LSU, was going to get scratched, and placed a bet before the books knew the information and had changed the betting line and made a lot of money. And apparently there were ties between that person and the head coach, Brad Bohannon of Alabama. So upon investigation, they found out
I know
that
it
was
had something to do with betting stuff.
So upon further investigation, they found out that was not the first time that happened. There were multiple times this happened. That is why he was then let go. And then once that happened, Alabama absolutely came out and I think destroyed Vanderbilt. It was like 14-2 or 11-2 or something like that on the first game on Thursday night. Then they got beat Friday night, and then they won again on Saturday against Vanderbilt.
Bama doesn't have a bad team.
No. This is one of the – look, they recruited well and got a very good team. It's just that it's like – let's just say, you could go look at you can do this with football within the SEC too. You could say that, Florida's team or Tennessee's team is not a bad football team, but in the SEC they're like middle of the road, right?
Right.
But then you place them against anybody else and they're pretty good. They would win just about any other conference, right?
Yeah.
So
right.
Bama's the same way. They're middle of the SEC, but if you put them anywhere else, they probably could go win several of these conferences because they're that they're that good. But they've got 11 wins in the SEC right now. That would put them that would put them a half game ahead of Auburn, just because Auburn may not have the same amount of losses because they have a tie in their overall record. They have a tie. But Bama did win the head-to-head, series against Auburn, so they would have the half leg up if there's a tie between those two. So Auburn would have to have a better record overall. So tie doesn't mean anything for them. But Auburn's trying to get into the SEC tournament.
SEC tournament, yeah.
Right, because it's the top 12 teams that get in.
Yeah, the top 12 teams have a chance. There's 2 teams in the SEC that doesn't get in.
You're right. And the bottom 4 of the tournament play at what is essentially a play-in game. It's a single elimination game to get in, to get you to 10 teams, which is what they used to have. And then then they run what is the same tournament that they'd been running for years with 12 teams or with 10 teams in the tournament from Wednesday to Sunday. So So on Tuesday there are 12 teams. On Wednesday there are 10, and then it's a double elimination tournament from there. So and
but there are 2 teams that get left out. Period.
Correct. And at this moment, it should be the 2 Mississippi schools, and if it's not, then Missouri is the other school. I have to go. You know what? I have the ranking right here. I have the records at least. It's the 2 Mississippi schools right now. They both have 6 wins, and that is the fewest amount of wins of any school. Missouri's got 7 in the SEC. So they would be the last team in. The 2 Mississippi schools would miss the baseball tournament, the SEC tournament.
Which is the 2 last national championships.
Correct. The 2 last national champions would miss the conference, their own conference.
A little weird.
Correct. It is. It's really weird. And then the teams Missouri with 7.
Mississippi State, who won the year before last, missed the SEC tournament last year. I'm pretty sure is what I heard.
I cannot recall if they missed it or not. And if they did, then
this will be 2 years in a row that the previous champion has missed the SEC tournament.
Right. And but with that said, like I said, Missouri's got 7 wins. They would be the 12th team in. And then you've got A&M, Auburn, and Georgia with 10 wins currently. Their games are still going on, so they could reach – any one of these teams could be reaching 11. Actually, no, Georgia I think already lost, I would think, if I'm correct on
today,
this.
You mean?
Yeah. And then I think they're already done for the weekend. They've already got 24. They've already got 24.
Georgia actually won today. They
won today, but they won today, but that they've already played. Their game is over.
Yeah.
Is what I was referring to. Whereas A&M and Auburn are still currently playing. Auburn's leading. So
what's Tennessee's record in the SEC?
Well, I'll get to that in just a second. Tennessee has 12 wins in the SEC. So, as we said, the 10-win teams were A&M, Auburn, and Georgia. Georgia's already played today, so they're at 10 and 14. Auburn and A&M are both at 10 and 13. A&M is tied with Florida at 2-2 right now in their game. Auburn is winning right now, so Auburn is likely to have an 11th victory by the end of the day. A&M don't know. It's up in the air.
Right.
And they just gave up a bomb. No, they didn't. Oh, wow. Thought that was about to leave the park. That looked like it was going to leave the park. Warning track power, but not quite. Home run distance. anyway, so then Alabama's got 11. They are 11-13. Then you get to Tennessee, who is 12-12. Kentucky is 13-10. South Carolina is 14-8. Florida is 15-8. Then LSU currently is 16-6. Could possibly be 16-7 at the end of the day. Vanderbilt is 17-7. So
Vanderbilt has the most wins in the SEC.
Yes. So it's really weird right now because even for the last couple of weeks, the number one team in the SEC is not the number one team in the country.
Right.
And both teams are SEC. Like the number one team in the country is not the number one team in their conference. And which, if they lose this series right here, this result stands. It's the top of the 8th inning, 1 out. If this result stands, then I would look at a new team being number one. I don't know who. I'd have to go look at it and figure it out. But I don't know if LSU would retain.
Wake Forest had been. I don't know if they still are in that 2 spot. Yeah.
I'd have to take a look.
Wake Forest.
It'd probably have to be Wake Forest because South Carolina lost their series, and as the number 3 team, the number 5 team is Vanderbilt. They lost their series, so that's that. So we'd have to see who the number two or the number 4 team. And you said that South Carolina or that Wake Forest is the number 2 team, and we'd have to look to see who the number 4 team in the country is. That's probably is that Stanford. Stanford may be the number 4 team. I'd have to take a look. Nope, they're number 7, according to this.
I'm trying
trying to see if I can find a 4 team, but
it's
Florida. It's
Florida.
Florida's the number 4. Huh.
Stanford is 7. Coastal Carolina is 8.
But anyway, that is what is happening right now in the SEC. They could be, like I said, a change in who is the number 1 team in the country with the result if it stands.
So the SEC tournament there's 2 weekends left?
Should be 2. Usually graduation happens and then so we're at 24 games now. Got to play 30. So we got 2 weeks.
So there's 2 weekends.
Yeah,
left.
It's usually 2 weeks after graduation before, 2 weekends beyond graduation before the tournament happens. So
right.
Yep.
I know Kentucky has to play Tennessee. I think that's the last one, I believe.
Auburn has Ole Miss and
I think the other one that they play is Florida. I believe the 2 that they have left to play is Florida and Tennessee, I think. They've played everybody else in the East.
Yeah, Auburn is at they're at Ole Miss one of these weeks, and I got to see what. Let's go look at the calendar here for where they are or who they play. Because next week, Kentucky is at Tennessee. Alabama's at A&M. South Carolina's at Arkansas. Mississippi State's at LSU. Auburn is at Ole Miss next week. Georgia is at Missouri.
That should be pretty good for Auburn, actually.
And Vanderbilt at Florida. That should be a good series. Vanderbilt at Florida.
Yeah.
And then the final weekend series, which will be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look. See what we have going here. We have Florida at Kentucky.
That's what I thought.
Yep. Missouri at Auburn, A&M
Man.
at Mississippi State, Ole Miss at Alabama, Tennessee at South Carolina. Let's see, Arkansas at Vanderbilt, which Vanderbilt gets to play as the number 5 team in the country, gets to play the number 4 and the number 6 team in the country the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun for them. Whereas, Kentucky's got the number 18 team and the number 4 team.
And Auburn gets Ole Miss and Missouri. Come on.
Don't make the schedule late. Look. Ole Miss is last year's national champion. You can't sit here and predict that they're going to be as bad as they've been.
I mean, come on, man. That's terrible.
You can't sit there and go, "Hey, Ole Miss is going to be bad. They won the national championship. They're going to be really, really bad. Let's go ahead and stack Auburn with those 2 teams at the end of the season." Look, Auburn could go into that final 2 series and lose both of them. It is very possible they could lose both of them. They're not.
Good and well they're going to win 4 of those games. Easy, I think.
Do I?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think they're going to win 4 of those 6 games.
That bullpen could fall apart because that bullpen has proven that they are very capable of falling apart.
That would give them 15. If they win,
time.
Today, they'll be at 11, right? If they win 4 of those, they'll be at 15.
Right, which guarantees them in. Pretty much, yes, guarantees them in because they would have had the.
And I think that's pretty much. If they win today, I think they have a good shot at 15.
With the high RPI, 14 gets you in, and Auburn's going to have a high enough RPI, by knocking off the number 3 and the number 1. So
Jay says he hates the pool play in the ACC tournament.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I don't
really
know.
like pool play.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, just their issue will be when Auburn is playing tournament, they don't have enough pitching. They don't have pitching to do it. So they have enough hitting to.
Yeah, they can hit the ball.
They can
score a run.
But you got to get past everybody's Friday. And you can do that. Then Auburn can basically hang with anybody at that point because they've got the lineup 1 through 9 to hang with anybody in the country. But they don't have the pitching to hang with anybody in the country. And they've got enough pitching. Their Friday night guy, while he has been, pretty good the last couple of weeks.
Jay, the ACC is not better than the SEC in baseball.
While Auburn's
come on now,
Friday night guy has been, fairly good, on Friday night. He's not a Friday night guy. Like he would be a Saturday or Sunday guy. Oh, Auburn just 10-run them. So they're done. Error. Well, it was a single with the way that the guy did it, but then the first baseman threw it away. So it was a guy made a heck of a stop to stop the play or to stop the ball, but then he threw it away when he was trying to throw the guy out at home plate and scored the winning run. Auburn wins 12-2. They now have 11. He dove right into the umpire too.
They definitely have turned it around from the first half of the season to where they are now with the possibility of these last 2 weekends.
Oh yeah.
Auburn has definitely turned their season around because I it didn't look too great to start the first half.
Well, I mean, you get swept in opening weekend. That's never a good start. It's never good when you start your SEC season 0-3. then that's not a great start at
I
all.
think they went 1-5, didn't they? Or was it 3-6?
Say what? How did they start their season?
The first 3 series, I think they were like 3-6. I think.
Yeah, I think after the first 3 series, they were 3-6. They had won.
Yeah.
They won a series 2. That they beat Georgia. Won 2 out of 3 against Georgia. Came close to sweeping, but when the 8th inning happened, they gave up like 17 runs and got nowhere near sweeping that one.
And Kentucky was 8-1, by the way, the first 3 series.
That's right. They did start with a heck of a start.
They were 8-1, by the way.
That was a heck of a start right there that they had.
Yeah.
So
They were.
Let me pick up. I'm going to look at. I'm just looking
So
at
if
how
they can finish this off today, I believe this will be Kentucky's 14th.
Right. So
I believe they'll have 14 today if they can finish this off. They were up 7-2 in the 8th.
They're 13-3 right now. Right? Yeah, because they've had one
13
rain out.
10.
13 that's right, 13-10. So
yeah.
What I was thinking.
Yeah, and so if they could win today and finish this one off, they'll be 14-10.
So that gets you, and you had the number 1 RPI in the country for a long time. You don't have the number 1 RPI right now, but you have a high enough RPI that 14 wins gets you in the tournament. Yeah. And I'm talking about the NCAA, the gets you a regional berth. So you may not be hosting because you're not a top 16 team in the country, you're not a top 16 team in the country, but you will be most likely a 2 seed somewhere, maybe a 3 seed. 2 seed if you're ranked, but you're either going to be a 2 or a 3 sitting somewhere. Which,
well, I mean, they might sneak back in the rankings this weekend.
Possible.
Sweeping South Carolina.
Right. So
bottom of the 8th, they're up 9-2.
Yeah. So the way that Auburn started out was 0-3. Then they won 2 out of 3 against Georgia. Then they won the Friday night against Florida, and then proceeded to lose Saturday and Sunday.
And they were 3-6.
Right. That made them 3-6. And then they lost the series against Texas A&M. So then that made them 4-8. Yep. Lost the series against Alabama, which made them 5-10. And then they won.
Well, they didn't really start playing ball till 2 weeks ago.
Then they won the series against Mississippi State, which made them 7-11. Won the series against South Carolina, which made them 9-12. And then won the series against LSU, which puts them 11 and 13.
13.
Yeah. They've won the last 3 series. That's what it was. They've won 6 games in the last 9. They've won 6 out of 9 SEC games when starting.
Jay, you can go on somewhere, by the way, with all your Kentucky hate. I don't talk about Clemson, damn it.
He also asks if the Braves will get rid of Ozuna by the All-Star break. It depends on how much of the contract they are willing to pay, or if they are able to find somebody that is willing to take on that contract. Otherwise, they are stuck with him. So hopefully he gets better.
Well, so I keep up with a little bit of it. I don't keep up with a lot, to be honest with you.
Right.
I've been hearing so many people whining and complaining about the Yankees.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? I mean, what's the deal? What's going on with the Yankees? Why are do they just not have any pitching? What's going on with the Yankees?
To be honest, I haven't really paid any attention to the Yankees. So,
but I'm going to tell you right now, it kind of reminds me of the Dallas Cowboys fans.
yeah.
I've heard more whining and complaining.
Injuries.
And people talking.
That makes sense because I know Donaldson was injured for a little bit. And I know that they've had Giancarlo Stanton out for a little bit. They've had they were playing somebody out in the outfield, I think Hicks or somebody like that, and they didn't really like
everybody
that.
wants
they didn't like that. So
the manager fired.
Well,
what's his name? I can't even think of it.
Aaron Effin Boone.
I know it. Aaron Boone.
It's Aaron Effin Boone because of that home run he hit in 2003.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah,
he hit a home run that garnered the nickname. Okay, so
yes, I know. I remember.
Yeah. All right, let's see what kind of.
I just heard so many Yankee fans pissing and moaning, crying.
Yeah, well,
because they
makes sense.
Are playing terrible or whatever, and I'm just like, God, they're worse than the Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Cowboys fans are probably worse.
Well, that's because Jay, that's because you have the minor league affiliate for the team that he did that to, sitting in your hometown.
Yeah.
Who has a monster, coincidentally. I mean, I guess every one of their minor league affiliates have built the stadium so that everybody can get used to playing with the monster out and left. I think they should just go ahead and, just what is that? Draft Auburn left fielders because we play with the monster as well. It is designed right after Fenway Park. So as far as
we've got a whole bunch of copycatters. That's what you're trying to tell me.
Look, Auburn's been copying since the day they started. I mean, look, they copied Virginia's colors. They took Virginia's colors. That's the reason why we have the exact same color scheme as Virginia. The first ever football coach graduated from Virginia. All right. He liked the colors, so he said Auburn's going to have those colors. We copied the baseball stadium is a copy of 3 major league ballparks. Okay. The copy is Boston for the outfield wall. Okay. It is Wrigley for the brick around the rest of the field. Okay. And then it is Camden Yard for the green chairbacks seats. And those are the 3 that Auburn copied when they built their stadium back in the mid 90s. As far as the way it looks today.
Right.
So, but yeah, Auburn's been copying since
a bunch of copycatters is what I hear.
Well, I mean, the tiger is a cat, right? Just
that's what I hear. Hey, I'm pretty sure that's the Clemson Tigers as well. They're probably a bunch of them copycatters too.
They flew the eagle yesterday for the very first time at a baseball game. Very first time they flew the eagle. The Eagles 1-0.
And I still don't know. There's some things when it comes to especially Alabama sports that I do not understand. I'll switch this and put the SEC up on the screen. But since we don't have a whole lot, we're just kind of winging this today. Where does War Eagle come from? You
So
are
there's
the Auburn Tigers. I don't understand where War Eagle comes from. I don't understand how you have a eagle that does a flyover when you are the Tigers. It doesn't make sense to me. Same thing, Alabama. Where the hell does Roll Tide come from?
well, they're the Crimson Tide, so I guess that would make pretty much sense. They're the Alabama
Their
Crimson Tide.
mascot is an elephant.
Okay. Would
It just,
you like to understand the history?
yeah, tell me. I don't really understand where some of this stuff. Where
So
does
if you
War
take an
Eagle?
elephant, okay, you want to go with Auburn first? Okay.
Yeah,
Auburn,
where does War Eagle
okay.
come from?
So the legend, because this is the legend that you'll get taught every time you go, like, visit the campus. They'll talk about an old Civil War general sitting in the stands at a football game, and an eagle was flying above the field and then dies right there, and he's just stands up and goes, "War Eagle," and then it passes away or whatever, and that's kind of the thing. And from then on, I mean, I guess it caught on. So back in the 1800s. That's the gist. That's the story for War Eagle.
Okay.
And it's a battle cry, like Jay says in the chat.
Well, I get it's a battle cry, but
Yeah.
it's got to come from somewhere. When you,
Yeah, well, that's the story. For Alabama, the reason why you got an elephant is the way that I would presume that I haven't fact checked this one. This is one that I just kind of came up with. Is wearing the crimson colors going into battle, and you have elephants as kind of your main kind of back. And I mean, you could talk about like the Indian Army that has elephants, but you could go back to like the Assyrians and the Persians and all those that had elephants charging in front of your infantry.
it's just so
And,
Auburn or Alabama,
but
is
the other
probably
thing
the
is
only.
the other part is that's with the elephant itself, but the Crimson Tide, I guess it's when people sitting in the stands, again, somebody sitting in the stands saying that when they came out of the locker room, it looked like a Crimson Tide as they were going
Right.
across the
I get the whole Roll Tide with the Alabama and the Crimson Tide. Where I don't get is the elephant deal, and Alabama is probably one of the few college universities who basically does not use, and nobody knows, does not have a battle cry or anything for their mascot. Nobody even knows what, like, it's not even, don't mention it. They don't.
Alabama is also one of the few. There's probably like 4 or 5 D1 schools that do not have an S at the end of their name. The Alabama Crimson Tide, right? There's no
That's
S.
because and
Tigers,
and it's not like when they don't even mention the elephant. You know what I mean? Like that's not even. It's just Alabama's the Crimson Tide. They don't use.
Some of the other schools without an S are the Stanford. Stanford does not have an S.
Is it just Cardinal?
Cardinal. Yep.
It is?
Stanford Cardinal. Not Cardinals, Cardinal. Because it's the color. It's the Stanford Cardinal. I believe Harvard is one. Because you have Stanford Cardinal, Harvard Crimson. I think they're the Crimson. and I can't remember who the other one is off the top of my head. Syracuse. As I'm getting it from the audience over here. It's Syracuse because they're the Orangemen. That's right. Yes. So
now I think it's just orange now, isn't it?
Well,
it used to be Orange Men.
Then that means that 3 of them are just straight up colors.
Yeah, it used to be Orange Men, but I think they are right. I think
Harvard Crimson,
they have changed it to orange.
The Stanford Cardinal, the Syracuse Orange. I think it's the Orangemen, and then the Alabama Crimson Tide. I think those are the 4. And I think there's only 4. So there they are.
But
fun fact.
All the rest of those schools that you just mentioned, that is their mascot. The Cardinal is the Cardinal. Like that's their mascot.
No, that's a tree. It's not a cardinal. It's a tree. It's a different thing altogether. So, no.
Are you sure about that? That's not part of their mascot as well?
The cardinal is a color. The tree is their mascot. They are cardinal and white. That is their colors.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Alabama's got a weird deal down there with their
and there's no mascot.
They're the only school that I know of that has a mascot that is complete like animosity. They nobody uses it. No, they don't say it. They don't.
No, Ole Miss does too.
They do nothing with it at all.
Ole Miss.
The Rebels?
They don't do anything with that mascot. I guarantee you. Not anymore.
Maybe not anymore, but they always did.
The Rebel Black Bear Land Sharks. Ole Miss.
Yeah, now it's Land Sharks is what they always say now, but
yeah. So
but they used to. They might not do with the Rebels stuff much anymore.
The Rebel Black Bear Land Sharks.
I mean, I ain't gonna say that. I'll keep my mouth shut on that one. You brought it up. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that one.
No wiser words were said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sometimes people just. But I will say that they don't do that stuff anymore down there. I'm sure. Yeah. Although there is still, if you go down I-65,
okay,
through Alabama,
okay,
in between Birmingham and Mobile,
all right,
there is still a huge rebel flag that flies up on a pole right beside the interstate. There was as of 2 years ago.
There's one that's between Birmingham and Jasper too, but doesn't mean that that's the. Somebody hadn't gone over there and told them to take it down.
But what I'm saying is it's just kind of odd nowadays that that's still there, it's still flying and all that good stuff. Because most people in places don't get away with that.
On I-20 on the way to Atlanta too. I mean, it's still all over the place. It's not gone, but it's not in the forefront like it used to be. So
I'm trying not to say something, but
at
the same time, not everything in people's past is great, and I don't necessarily mean my life or your life, or I mean in
here's the easiest way to do it. Put it in a museum. Don't show it out in the middle of everything.
Well, I mean, yeah, but what I'm saying to you is there are things in people, and when I say people's past, I mean like complete countries, and I mean, if you go back 100 years or 200 years or 300 years or whatever, I mean, there are things in people's past that you probably aren't the most proud of, or wasn't right, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it happens.
Correct.
But what I want to say now is this thought that you can somehow erase the history of it.
It's not erased. It's just not celebrated.
Yeah, but there are a lot of things that people that think that you can somehow erase it.
Well, go ask people that live in other countries that started large conflicts and what they've done. They don't want to talk about it. They want to hide it. They want to act like they want to forget that it ever happened because they weren't a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's things that nowadays that, people still talk about that there's not a single person alive that was ever a part of it. Some of it. I'm talking about in the United States.
I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody was a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I
do.
It's complete, like, past history stuff.
It is. And that's where it should stay.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
It should stay back there.
You live and learn a little bit,
There we go.
I mean, you should anyway, as a society or whatever. I mean, you should,
Mm-hmm.
I think so anyway.
Exactly.
All right. I'll move on from all that.
Good.
Yeah. I'll move on from all that.
Good choice.
Yeah. All right. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do while we're on here is I'm going to talk about the Real Fresh channel, and I'm going to play a little commercial video for the Real Fresh channel. We are featured on Sunday nights on the Real Fresh channel, and he has a different show on there just about every single night, I think, except for maybe Wednesdays on his channel now. And he is part of the Fanboys. He does a couple of different shows for the Fanboys. Does one that is a sports show, and they cover wrestling and stuff as well. So I'm going to play this video and let him talk for a few minutes.
Hey, I am Hal Fresh here to tell you about the Real Fresh channel. That's right, youtube.com/the Real Fresh channel. We are a network aiming to bringing you various content each and every day, different types of podcasts, different type of content, anything from college sportcast and fresh takes for some sports. We also got You Want to Do What? We got the Wrestling Corner. We got live stream. Just go over to youtube.com/the Real Fresh channel and hit us up today. Thank you for checking it out. Appreciate your time.
Yep. And Rosen Brad is back.
All right, I'm back.
Yes.
So that was Howie Fresh with the Real Fresh channel, and we appreciate him. I always try to get that in on shows if I can. So y'all check him out. You can check us out, College Sportscast, on Sunday nights. Now, we have taken a couple of Sunday nights off. We haven't been on there for a few weeks, and I was planning on doing this show with Lee Wardlaw on there tonight. But now that we're just kind of winging it, and I'm not sure, I guess maybe I'll let him have this show too. But anyway, because I haven't done one with him for a few weeks now. But y'all check out Howie Fresh at the Real Fresh channel. And then I got a couple of things here that I was going to run through. This is something new. We are a brand ambassador now for True Victory. And it is a sports gear, sportswear online shop that you can go to. It is veteran owned, and they support veterans and first responders. And you should be able to scan that code and or that QR code, and it will take you to the shop where you can freely shop. And at the end, it should have the Fanboys 15% discount code in there for you guys to use that code and get 15% off. So I'm going to put that up on the screen for just a little bit. And this is a brand. Actually, we mentioned Paul Skeens earlier in the episode. He is also a brand ambassador for True Victory. He played for Air Force for a couple of years before he was at LSU, and is a military veteran supporter, and therefore is a brand ambassador for True Victory as well. So check out True Victory. You can shop online. If that QR code does not work, because I just kind of put it up last show and haven't had time to check it out. If you scan it and it does not work, then you can just go to truevictory.com. And when you go to check out, put in code DeFanboys, and you can still get your 15% discount from us. But they have tons of cool stuff. They have men's and women's, all kinds of sports gear. They've got Stars and Stripes collection. They've got a collection for Paul Skeens. They've got a collection for Addison Barnyard, who is a All-American softball player right now at Wichita State. She is the leading home run king. She's a junior at Wichita State. She's also a brand ambassador for True Victory as well. So there is some college ties to all of this stuff, which helps us out with College Sportscast. I thought it would be a good deal for us to be able to talk about and advertise, and some college current players are brand ambassadors, all American players, by the way. Paul Skeens, could get the Golden Spikes this year. I'm not real sure. What do you think?
Could be. He definitely is in the several players, even from the SEC, that have a shot at it. But Paul Skeens is still a likely front
He's definitely
runner.
one of them.
Yes, and a front runner too, being the Friday night starter on a number one team in the country.
So if you check him out, he's got his own collection at True Victory as a brand ambassador. I know that Addison Barnard's is AB30, and what's Paul Skeens' number at LSU? Do you know what his number is? What he wears?
35, maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Because I think that's what the collection is. I think so. It would be PS 35. I think.
Well, I'd have to go and look up what Paul Skeens.
It's his number is what so if you go to True Vic collection of all his, it's got LSU colors and stuff. They have one called RU True. It says True, and the RU is imprinted.
He's number 20.
20.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then it should be PS20 would be his brand ambassador collection for True Victory. So if you are a fan of Paul Skeens, if you're a fan of Wichita State with Addison, if you're a fan of either one of them, help support True Victory. You can do that by doing it with us at the Fanboys 15% discount code. And I kind of wanted to talk about it and leave it up for a few minutes. So just kind of get it out there. Like I said, some current All-Americans are have their own collection and stuff on this as well. There's a collection for a couple of military people as well in there, and different things. There's a Stars and Stripes collection. There's a RU True collection. So just check them out. They've got a lot of different stuff, men's and women's gear. They also have hats, and decal stickers and all kinds of stuff. You can even get gift cards, online gift cards to give away.
Yeah.
So check them out there. I'll leave that up for just a few more minutes. And if you joined our show expecting Lee Wardlaw, I'm sorry. He had something come up and had to go down into from South Carolina to Florida before the show. So we're going to try to reschedule that and still talk about some South Carolina, North Carolina recruiting and where kind of some of the top kids for 2024 and 2025 stand. So I'm still going to try to get that done and also talk about where recruiting stands for South Carolina and North Carolina. I will say this. I've done a little bit of research to kind of prep for the show today, and Shane Beamer's doing a heck of a job recruiting. He really is. So
yeah.
2023, he has there's 5 guys in South Carolina that are 4-star kids. He has 4 of the 5 at South Carolina. Jay was on here earlier, is a big Clemson fan. Clemson don't have any of the South Carolina kids. Georgia has the top kid, and then 2 through 5, who are all 4-star kids, have signed with South Carolina. Georgia, their top one is like 6th or 7th, and this is on Rivals, because I used Rivals since he works for Rivals. Just so you know, the rankings that I'm quoting are Rivals rankings. But Shane Beamer's doing a heck of a job. He really is recruiting for South Carolina. I just thought I'd throw that out there if you're on board expecting to hear some South Carolina, North Carolina, because we were supposed to do that today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we were actually supposed to do, but
Okay. By the way, I've gone and looked up the elephant for Alabama.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stories about, like, I guess early on in the early 20s and whatnot, there's a guy that owned a suitcase store, and there were a lot of suitcases that were either given to players after they played or whatever, or given to them when they were playing. And they had an elephant, like a Rosenberger. Rosenberger was the name of the suitcase store, and it had an elephant on it. Later, I guess in the 60s, they had kind of sort of adopted this elephant as a mascot, but it wasn't really an official mascot. They had made several attempts at doing a costumed mascot on the sidelines. Originally, it was a crimson red color. Then in the 60s or the 70s, they contacted the Walt Disney Company in New York to design a elephant costume, and that is what you know as Big Al today, designed by Walt Disney. That's why ESPN gets behind Alabama all the time. It's because Disney, who owns ESPN, designed the costume. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
But that's a
okay.
conspiracy I just created right there.
Oh, okay.
There were a lot of people that were reluctant. Yeah. Bear Bryant was reluctant to have an elephant or have a costume mascot, and there were other people that were very reluctant having it, but they did eventually get one. They named it Big Al, and the rest is history. But yeah, just always had something printed on their tickets. They always had this thing there, but it was never like a real mascot until the 60s, 70s, 80s, and then it became one.
Okay. Well, so I've got the True Victory thing up on the screen. I am going to switch, so please go check out True Victory. Help support the Fanboys, College Sportscast, Greenville Sports Media. We are doing stuff with Prep Red Zone, with Five Star Phenom, with Future All-Stars Game. Check us out. Help support us. Get some cool gear at truevictory.com. Again, Paul Skeens, Addison Barnyard is also from Wichita State. They're both All-Americans, softball and baseball. They have their own collection there. You can check them out. The next thing I'm going to go to and put up on is our own College Sportscast official gear. And I'm going to get that up on the screen as well. If I can get this to work. It should be there. Is it there?
It was, and then it came off. I saw it.
Oh,
I was pointing at it. Oh, there it is. It's there again now. It's right
there.
here.
It is. All right. So get it up on the screen. That is our official merchandise gear for College Sportscast. You can scan. Now that QR code does work. I have tried that one. That one should work. It does take you to our opening page where you can shop. We have about 10 or 12 different designs there. We have a hoodie. We have a sweatshirt as well. It's not really that season. It's more T-shirt and that kind of stuff. And most of them are those. But we have about 10 or 12 different designs there that you can pick and choose from. We've got a baseball design, a football design, volleyball, soccer, basketball, softball. So we've got different designs, different colors. You can check them out. We've got a couple of mugs on there as well, coffee mugs that you can get. While you're watching this show, I will give you a code to use. Watch CS Cast. Watch CS Cast will give you a 15% discount. I'm doing this as a watch code. And that way you can get a 15% discount, but you have to watch our show to do that. So I do know this code does work. This QR code, I have used and tested this one. So, John, you might be able to test it while we're on and scan the other one. I don't know.
You gave me this.
Oh, yeah. Does it go to that?
Goes right to the website.
Yeah. Does it go straight to that shirt or does it go to the website?
It goes straight to the this is what it looks like. It's this right here when it goes, and then
But you can shop from there and go to the other stuff. Yeah, that's what I thought. And go to the other shirts and stuff. Yeah,
so
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you can use our code WatchCSCast for a 15% discount at checkout. And again, I'm not putting that down, and I'm not putting that in writing. I have not been doing that because I want to give people who are watching a special discount. So trying to get people to watch our show a little bit, have a reason to shop at the same time for a discount. So the True Victory one, that one will be up on the screen. I'll put it up. And if you want to check this code and see if it scans to it, because I have not checked this one. I did check the College SportsCast one, and I know it works.
It went there.
Yep, it goes to the page. Yeah, it should go to the page where you can go and shop. Yeah, and you can go and shop.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. Now, if you put something in the cart and go to checkout, does it have there's Paul Skeen's collection? Yeah. He has his own collection he's a brand ambassador for True Victory.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool, one of the current best players in college baseball. And you also have one of the current best players in college softball. Well,
Yep.
Addison plays for Wichita State. Yep, there she is. Yeah. AB30 is her collection code. Her collection.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So we've got these two things up for you there. You can scan those QR codes, and John's tried them out there for me. So I do know both of them actually go to the pages and work. And you can, both of them, you can get 15% discount. I will tell you another added bonus for True Victory. Anything above $99, any order above $99 gets you free shipping as well. So that'll save some money as well. Because shipping nowadays is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
I mean,
is.
it really is. Yeah. Shipping's going nuts with stuff. So.
Yeah.
All right. I have those things up. We've talked about those. I wanted to put those up on the screen for you tonight while we were doing our show. So, is there, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I need to talk about? I know that we do our shows, College SportsCast. We are currently doing shows on Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. and Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. All of these are Central Standard Time. We are on WSBN TV Channel 30. You download the BoxCast app, and you can find WSBN TV on Apple, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick. And once you find WSBN TV, College SportsCast is Channel 30. So you can catch us on TV. We ask that you watch there as well. We're on YouTube. You can catch all that we do on our Linktree page, and I will get that up real quick for you. This is our Linktree page. I'll get it up there for you. We are at Linktree College SportsCast, and I have put the new things on there. I put True Victory on there, and you can a link straight to that is on there. Our College SportsCast R&D Instagram page is on there now. So there is 16 or 17 different things that you can check us out that we do, and I try to keep something new on most of it most of the time. There's not always something new constantly, I can promise, but I try to keep something new on it most of the time. But there's a lot that we're doing, a lot that we're a part of. We are covering, I know in less than 2 weeks on the 21st, I will be in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, covering Prep Red Zone Tennessee football camp. And I'm excited about doing that for Prep Red Zone Tennessee, Prep Red Zone. And going to be down there doing a little coverage and talking to some of these kids. I think it's going to be from 2024 to 2027, I believe, the high school football kids. So it's going to be a fun time. I know that there will probably be a few out-of-state kids, but Tennessee's full of some really good talent, and there'll be a lot of good coaches and stuff there at this camp, and it'll be a good opportunity for these kids to get noticed and for College SportsCast as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Indeed, yes, we are looking forward to all that, all the upcoming.
All right. So I'll end it with this. We got our Home for Our Troops. Home for Our Troops is helping injured and wounded vets build homes, rebuild their lives. So they've been doing this for over 20 plus years. For every dollar that you give, over 90 cents of that dollar goes towards helping rebuild build homes and rebuild their lives. And you can give to them at hfotusa.org. And again, this is part of what we are doing. True Victory kind of in lines with this too. It's veteran owned, and we're trying to help support our veterans here at the Fanboys and College SportsCast. So we ask that you give and give to Home for Our Troops. So soon we might be going down to a few shows for a couple of months. We're going to try to finish up May doing what we're doing. Going to try to anyway. I do not know what we got planned for this coming week, right, John?
Not off the top of my head.
I don't. Yeah, I do not know what we've got planned for this coming week. So maybe I'll try to get rescheduled here with Lee Wardlaw and try to get that rescheduled, and then kind of go from there and maybe come up with something new for the week.
So here's the SEC baseball standings as is by the end of today's action. In the East, we have Vanderbilt at 17-7, Florida 15-9, South Carolina 14-9, Kentucky 14-10, Tennessee 12-12, Georgia 10-14, Missouri 7-17. In the West, we got Arkansas at 17-7, LSU at 16-7, Alabama 11-13, Auburn 11-13, Texas A&M 11-13, Ole Miss 6-18. Mississippi State 6-18. So the two teams that are 11-13 are the three teams with the 11-13 record in the West.
Would be in that last four.
They would be.
Yeah.
But they also have, let's see, so the bottom two are the two Mississippi State teams.
They would be out.
Yeah, Missouri and Georgia, and then two of the three 11-13 teams in the West would be playing in the play-in game on games. Tuesdays. Yeah.
Yeah.
So currently, I think, because I don't know exactly if Alabama's gone head-to-head with Texas A&M or not. But Alabama has a tiebreaker on Auburn. Texas A&M also has a tiebreaker on Auburn. But I don't know if Alabama's got one on Texas A&M. It's just listed here in alphabetical order, so it's not listed
Right.
in the order in which they are. So,
Right.
But two of those three teams would have to play against the Georgia would be playing, and you would have Georgia and Missouri also as the other two teams in the play-in game. Everybody else would already be in the tournament, and they'd be playing starting Wednesday, unless they've got the buys and all that stuff that they may be dealing with, like Vanderbilt and Arkansas. They would have some time where they don't have to play the first few games. So,
Right.
but yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Sounds good, man. We're going to wrap this up. We will see you guys on Tuesday night at 8:00, and y'all, we will see you then. Y'all have a good night.